And so it would appear that after 165 or so generations of higher human cognitive development, we are here. The entire world is the first day of kindergarten, where everyone requires instruction on hand washing and cleaning up after oneself. Yay, us. Maybe it's time to put down the game controller, step away from Batman and the Bachelor, and grow the hell up. You think? Well, here's a thing. I'm a bit vexed today from a weekend of advanced jackassery. As you may know, I've talked quite a bit about the annoying, borderline tragic cultural rot of Arrested Development and its outright advocacy by everyone from mommies who refuse to allow their little boys to grow up, to schools that won't challenge the minds and bodies of young people, to pop culture, which has become so grotesquely intolerable it's as though the universe is being run by a cabal of 12-year-old boys. Grown men, chronologically, who are supposed to be molding the next generation of doers, builders, and leaders are themselves mired in some bizarre terminal adolescence. These sad creatures, formerly bearers of testosterone and the Y chromosome, muddle through some unrecognizable form of existence once known as life. Their doughy and debilitated bodies go through the basic rote motions of survival, breathing, eating, and defecating, while devoting the vast majority of their cognitive resources to porn, drugs, video games, and comic book movies. Are you aware that due to the unabated fire hose of pornography shoved down the throat of your children's consciousness, erectile dysfunction among males under 30 has skyrocketed? There's no healthy arousal reflex because your average 14-year-old has seen 1,000 hours of graphic sexual videos since you first shoved a tablet and a smartphone in their face instead of shoving them out the door to ride a bike. Also to blame on this delightful cavalcade of despicable sloth is the horrendous lack of exercise and its hand-holding buddies of diabetes, cholesterol, and for good measure, let's throw in the delightful vaping craze. Incidentally, with a weak body, a compromised cardiopulmonary system, blood diseases, and no life skills, how do you think these males will, say, fight off an invading pathogen? Like that would ever happen. Why on earth would you need any kind of survival skills? Just escapes my consciousness. How about the cream of our leadership crop? Here's a group of individuals worthy of 20 seconds of discussion. Elected officials / politicians in whom I, and apparently the vast majority of you, place zero confidence, trust, or any intellectual stock above visceral mistrust, are currently some of the dumbest people to ever draw breath and attempt to walk in a straight line. Alpha Oscar Charlie and company, we're looking at you. Good God Almighty, I am so embarrassed for their families. This is what happens. This is the result when education is based on nonsense and history twisted into an unrecognizable pretzel made of bovine feces. Garbage in, garbage out. These people couldn't find their own ass with both hands in a treasure map. Perhaps the saddest, absolutely most tragic result of this collapsed and crippled culture is revealed in those with whom the care of reason and balance was entrusted from the beginning. Women who should be carrying the torch of dignity grace, and intelligence so that society, the rest of us, has a touchstone of comportment are instead acting out some sort of twisted dramatization of a dystopian Lord of the Flies potboiler fueled by lattes and social media. Think about this for a moment. Stupidity once had the ultimate firewall, and it sounded something like this. Before you do that, ask yourself what your mother would say if she saw you do it. What would Mama say? Well, what is Mama gonna say in 10 or 20 years? Pass the bong, send out more nude selfies, and let's get abortions together, sweetie? Because we were too lazy, too busy, too stupid, too bored, or too unwilling to be held to a higher standard ourselves, we have fostered a culture akin to a middle school gym 5 minutes before dismissal. Welcome to the year 2020. The shining result of shameless disengagement, spurious scholarship, and counterfeit causes. It seems that we have lost the instinct to work for the future and replaced it with terminal adolescence. The whole damn world is now one giant kindergarten class where every kilobyte of space is filled with instructions for cleaning yourself and not touching poo-poo. Just damn. Congratulations, world. You're a giant collection of zoo animals. That's enough to ponder for now. Unless you need to ponder your hand-washing instructions. Speaking of which, this episode of the podcast is dedicated to everyone on Earth who didn't need to be reminded by the government how to wash your hands. Here's the Thing can be found on the Podbean app. Here's the Thing at podbean.com, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and on and on and on in the podcast universe. For virtually effortless podcast enjoyment in your home or on the go, simply ask your disembodied AI robot servant to play Here's a Thing from your preferred podcast consumption platform. Episodes will also be posted on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. Search everywhere for Here's a Thing. Please subscribe, rate, and review. And become a patron. Donate to the cause by following the show link to patron.podbean.com/Here's a Thing. Or by clicking the little $sign or the Become a Patron button on the Here's a Thing episode page of your Podbean app. And welcome to the family Belarus and Maryland. So glad to have you. Thank you for your time and devotion to reason. Let's keep growing this family. Share the episode with a friend. Don't be stingy. Share the love. Whatever you're about to do, get after it 100% or don't bother the rest of us. You owe that to yourself because integrity matters. If you can't be anything else today, be authentic. It'll pay off.
Hi guys, this is Macy speaking. Thank you for joining my father in his amazing podcast. This is the end of it. Bye. I cracked myself up.